Alright, Coach Plow Guy back. This is the Metallica studio albums ranking video. Metallica is made up of James Hetfield. He's lead vocals and rhythm guitar, although he plays some lead guitar. Lars Ulrich is the drummer. They're the all-time stalwarts of the band. Kirk Hammett is primarily the lead guitarist and sometimes rhythm guitarist because he switches back and forth with James. And then Robert Trujillo, from I know him from Jerry Cantrell's band, but also he did like Ozzy and some other stuff. He's the bass player since Saint Anger. Formerly of Metallica is Jason Newsted on bass, Cliff Burton before he died on bass, and Cliff was really the leader of the band until then. Ron McGovney, and then of course Dave Mustaine was the lead guitarist before getting the boot, and Kirk Hammett coming along. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to go through the 10 Metallica albums, the studio albums only, none of the live stuff. No live shit, Bin and Purge or S&M or S&M2. We'll just, none of the EPs, Garage Inc. doesn't count, so none of the compilations or the EPs, none of that stuff. So we'll just get right into it. Number 10, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This is from 2016. Yeah, I'll put this one last. It's definitely not my favorite, and you know how I feel about double discs generally. Generally, they're uneven, and this one is pretty uneven. I'll just quickly say what I don't like about it is it feels like Death Magnetic less. 2 discs is way too much content. I don't like the first song called Hardwired. I don't like albums where I can't get into the first song. If I don't like the first song, I just get out. When it came out in 2016, I started listening to it, and I really tried to suffer through it, and I didn't like it, so it got buried for years. I listened to it 2 days ago on Saturday, and I'll say this, it's better than I remembered. Especially Disc 2, I liked some of the tracks on Disc 2. The last 2 or 3 songs, Am I Savage and Murder 1 and Spit Out the Bone, I thought those are pretty cool. Other than that, I'm not really a big fan. It mixed and sounds a lot like Death Magnetic, and James is he's singing like he is on Death Magnetic, where he's singing. He's got some of the growl back. By the way, a quick U-turn here. Metallica's been releasing songs this year because they do have a new album coming out called 72 Seasons. And I watched this song. The video for 72 Seasons premiered last week, and I watched it yesterday. It just popped up on my YouTube. James is back to growling on the songs, which I like better. When he's singing, I don't like it so much. Last thing I'll say is this disc, I bought the 3-disc package, which has this bonus disc. The actual bonus disc is the best disc that came with it. So it's about half of it is live, and then there's some throwaway bonus tracks from the album. So, all right, let's leave it at that. I don't have too much more to say about it. Number 10, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. All right, let's put that one there. Number 9, Load from 96. Yep. Now, 96, when this came out, it was a big deal. And, Metallica just got all their hair cut, and they got the sunglasses on, and Anton Corbijn took their picture, which he did a bunch of Danzig stuff, incidentally, back in the day. But this, I was actually torn between 8 and 9, but I'll go with 9 because I'll talk about that in a minute. This one's got a lot of the singles on it. I'm just looking at the track list. I didn't listen to this one a lot when it came out, and other than the song "The Outlaw Torn," I'm a big fan of the power behind that song. And it's a sprawling song. It's like an epic. I would say it's about 10 or 11 minutes long. And I've always liked that song since this album came out. I could put it in and just crank it and listen to it. The rest of it, it's it's like a mix between Metallica singles and music video songs and some weird stuff. Ain't My Bitch is okay. The 2x4 is okay. The House That Jack Built is a pretty cool song. I dig that one. Until It Sleeps and King Nothing are singles. You probably heard them before. I know you have if you're watching this video. Hero of the Day, okay. Bleeding Me is okay. And then there's this country song called Mama Said, which it's pretty good for Metallica doing country. I never liked this one. I tried to. Uh, it sounds like in 1996, it sounds like Metallica was trying to do an Alice in Chains record, but it's not as good as the Alice in Chains records. It's if it was an Alice in Chains record, it'd be last, okay? And here it comes in second to last. So let's stop right there. Load from 96. All right, number 8. From 1997? Was it 97 or 98? I'm not sure. 97, okay. That makes sense, because I remember when I was listening to it. Reload from 97. Okay, so when this came out, I bought it. I bought Load right away, and then I bought Reload. And I've generally liked Reload better over the years. And, of course, I listened to it a lot more when it came out. I was much more happier with Reload. And I listened to both of these today and yesterday, and now I'm not sure why I liked Reload better, but I'm going to stick it at number 8 ahead of Load. I guess because the first 4 songs are pretty good, they get the album off to a good start with Fuel and The Memory Remains and Devil's Dance and The Unforgiven 2. And then Better Than You is like a slow lumbering song. After that, the rest of the album goes by and it's not there's nothing really noteworthy on it. I guess I listened to this morning. I haven't listened to this in years, but God, I used to listen to it a lot. Low Man's lyrics stuck out, and then Fixer was just okay. The rest of it, it's Metallica. The albums that Bob Rock did, I mean, he was trying to get them to have a more conventional pop song to get more radio play, and so what you have is a lot more 4/4 time, slower beats, slower rhythms, simpler rhythms by Lars. Less of the thrash, more of the pop. It's a bit more precise than the non-Bob Rock albums, but it's not. It's got some power, but it's just the performances aren't great. So they put in their time and they did the work, but it's not their best material. So let's call it that. 1997 Reload at number 8. All right. All right, number 7, Saint Anger from 2004. This one might give me some hate. I think a lot of fans would put this at the bottom, but not me. So it's another Bob Rock one, but he's got less influence now. I remember when it came out. Oh man, when this came out. I listened to it a lot. And by the way, this one also came with a second bonus disc. It's a DVD of the rehearsals. And I know in the past I've always said, I don't rank stuff on the bonus material. But in this case, the bonus disc is actually better than what's on the CD. The CD feels like it's rushed. And it feels like it's not finished, and that's because it's not. What I had read was they recorded it. They're starting to record it, and someone got a hold of it and put it out there on Napster. And, of course, that was revenge for the fans that hated that Lars went to war with Napster. But what they were trying to do was make a more progressive metal album like the first 4. And they were trying to make their follow-up to Master of Puppets here. And the songs, they fit that structure. They've got they've got the changing time signatures and the faster beats, and um, James is screaming on it, but not like he could when he was in his 20s. So it's different. It doesn't hold up to the first four. Let's see, the songs I liked on it. I like Frantic, even though I don't like the lyrics. Saint Anger, I like. I don't like. By the way, I don't like songs where they curse, but that'll take me into a different tangent. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like the first song on Hardwired. But on Saint Anger, he's cursing, and I'd rather not hear it. I mean, strengthen your vocabulary if you have to swear. So I'm not a big fan of Saint Anger, but I like the song. I just wish there was a friendlier edit. Some Kind of Monster is good. Invisible Kid is good. My World is good. Shoot Me Again I like. Shoot Me Again is it's pretty catchy. It's pretty funny actually. Sweet Amber is okay. Yeah, even 9, 10, and 11, the last three, they're all good. It's good. It just got screwed up in production. You know, James, it's not a good vocal effort. He was going through rehab and therapy, and the album got rushed, so I don't think they got to put the finishing touches on the album that you normally would by doing overdubs and that kind of stuff. People really hate the snare drum. All right, I'm not gonna go into it. You guys know about the snare drum. 3 minutes on this album is too much. Saint Anger, number 7, 2004. Okay, number 6. I could get some hate mail for this. This is the Black Album, or Metallica, or self-titled, from 91. Yep, 1991. Oh god, this has been overplayed. It's a good album. I think Saint Anger is good. I think this is good. This is the first album where they really went pop, hard rock. It's metal too, but it's very conventional, 4/4 time. They really slowed down the tempos for the first time. But there's a bunch of classics on this, like Enter Sandman and Sad But True. I mean, if you don't like Sad But True, there's something wrong with you. I love Sad But True. Holier Than Thou. Honestly, I like all of these songs. I like A Wolf of Man, The God That Failed, My Friend of Misery. I like all these. Nothing Else Matters is the ballad where James is singing and the orchestra is going on in the background. And he was all ashamed of the orchestra at the time, but over the years they've all said that they like that. You can really hear it. If you ever listen to S&M, you can really hear that. By the way, S&M's not bad. If you like heavy metal with a with a whole symphony orchestra behind it. Yeah, Don't Tread on Me too. That's so I like the Gadsden Snake on the back, and what else? This is the second album with Jason, and they didn't undermix him here. And it's Bob Rock, and there's some really cool guitar solos by Mr. Hammett, which I forgot to mention in the previous in Saint Anger. I just went on too long about Saint Anger. But what's different about Saint Anger? No solos, and that I remember in Some Kind of Monster, James is really complaining about not having solos on the album, that would really date it, because back in the early 2000s, nobody was putting solos. It was just all verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And so he was upset that there were no solos, but there's some good solos on Metallica. Okay, so number 6, the Black Album from 91. Okay, fellas, number 5 is Death Magnetic. I could get some hate over this. Death Magnetic it's got this unusual digi style pack here. I always thought was weird, the way this folds. This is the one they made in '08. I want to say '08. Yep, '08. Dedicated to Lane Staley. They were friends with Lane and Alice in Chains. And it says that on the cover. I'm sorry, on the inside of the booklet. This one is the first one produced by Rick Rubin, the first and only one for Metallica. Rick did a good job here. He made him strip back, and he made him be Metallica again. And this is another one where they were like, they're trying to do another Master of Puppets. Yeah, so whenever you ever buy an album and it's got a sticker on the cover and it says something like, "This is the best release since," and then it has their best album. I remember when I got Yes the Ladder, it said that the best Yes album sits close to the edge, and I thought, okay, uh, I mean, I like this one a lot. And in '08, when it came out, I was listening to it every day, multiple times a day, and I really like it. And I had a day last summer where I stuck it in, and I haven't, like, before then, I hadn't listened to it in forever. And there was a day about a year ago, maybe April or May of last year, and I put it in and just cranked it, and I really, really enjoyed it a lot. All these songs are awesome. This Was Just Your Life, The End of the Line, all of them. It's a powerful record, and the performance is better. And they've gone back to the switching time signatures, the faster tempo. And so if you were listening to Garage Inc. or S&M or Load or Reload, this is quite a stark contrast or difference. Oh, Cyanide's a good one. The Judas Kiss I liked. I think that's the instrumental. Suicide and Redemption, that's good. And then My Apocalypse. All powerful tracks on here. Yeah, and the Unforgiven 3, I mean, I'm glad they buried that, so they haven't done any more Unforgiven since this one, and that's good. So let's go Death Magnetic, number 5, and it's deserving of the spot. Number 4, Kill 'Em All, the debut album from Metallica. This is excellent. It's you can tell it's pretty raw. Released in 1983 and produced by someone named Paul Kirkio. I thought Fleming did all the early albums, but I guess I'm wrong. Okay, so a lot of these songs have, not a lot of them, but a couple of them have Dave Mustaine's co-writes on it. There's a really cool picture of the band on the inside. All right, and I want to say this is the first CD I ever bought when we switched over from tapes to CDs. So I've had this. This is old. I've had this for a long time. The best track on here is the Four Horsemen. It makes me sad because I was watching a Marvel movie in the last couple of years and they were playing that. Oh, you know what it is? It's the X-Men. Was it the Dark Phoenix? I think it was the Dark Phoenix. If I'm wrong, can you leave a comment? And just... Yeah, the Four Horsemen is probably the best song on here. I always like No Remorse. This is just a fast, frantic album. And for the most part, James is just screaming. I mean, I don't know how he could do that with his voice, but he is just screaming his lungs out. And it's a wonderful performance by James and really the whole band. I'm looking at the track list. Seek and Destroy is one that that one probably makes my five favorites for Metallica songs. Yep. Okay. from 1983. Kill 'Em All. All right, surprise, number 3, Master of Puppets. I bet some of you have this number 1. Oh, I've always had it 3. My 1 and 2 changes, but this has always been my 3. Okay, produced by Metallica and Fleming. Okay, so this one's got Fleming on it. This one also has the 4-piece that you're used to with James and Lars, and then Kirk and Cliff. And it's very progressive for a heavy metal record. I mean, you've got a lot of the changing time signatures, and they're bouncing around, and faster tempos. The noteworthy tracks are Battery, Master of Puppets, of course, Welcome Home Sanitarium. I mean, almost all of them. Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, Orion, the instrumental. Okay, the best track on here is Damage Inc. That one. That's a great track, especially for an album ender. I'm kind of surprised that they would bury it like that, but and yeah, I think if Kill 'Em All was the first CD I ever bought, I think I bought it the same day. So this is another very old one, and I can tell the jewel case is, you probably can't see it here, but it's pretty scratched up. You got cool photos of the band on the inside. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty nasty on the flip side. Let's do this. Number 3 from 1986, Master of Puppets. Number 2, and even now I'm looking at this going, do I have this right? Because this was always my favorite. But I've switched it recently. Number 2 is And Justice for All from 1989? 88. Okay, 88. This is another Fleming, although this one says produced by Metallica and Fleming Rasmussen, so Metallica's first. This is the first CD after Cliff died. So you got Jason on here for the first time, and Jason's written the first song, Blackened. And it's just a cool track. This is a great album from beginning to end. Every song is cool. There's no skips. A lot of this stuff could be your cage music if you were a UFC fighter. Just about anything. In fact, I know, does Carla walk out to Harvester of Sorrow? Carla Esparza? I think so. It's Shortest Straw or Harvester of Sorrow? I think it's Harvester. Okay, these are all outstanding songs. And the last song is noteworthy, Dyer's Eve. Dun 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 dun. Okay, you know it. But the noteworthy songs on here are Blackened and Justice for All, Eye of the Beholder, One, which has a The Shortest Straw and Harvester of Sorrow, The Frayed Ends of Sanity, To Live Is to Die, and Dyer's Eve. I can't remember. One of those is the instrumental, but I can't remember which one. Yeah, To Live Is to Die. I guess there's a little, there's talking at the end of it, but this is a cool album. This was always my favorite until maybe the last 5 years. I've flipped. I'm not sure why, but we'll get to that in a second. Number 2, And Justice from All from 1988. This makes number 1, Ride the Lightning from 1984? Yeah, I remember being in high school and driving around in my little Dodge Colt listening to this. But I don't think I don't think it dawned upon me in the last 5 years how high until then, like until recently. I think this one's my favorite. And what's confusing about this album is if you listen to the first four songs, you don't even realize the songs are changing. Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, and For Whom the Bell Tolls. It just seems like it's one long medley, kind of like the second side of Abbey Road for the Beatles. It's or Dark Side of the Moon. You know how when you listen to Dark Side of the Moon, it's kind of like whoosh, all of a sudden you look at the CD and it's like we're on track 5 already. How did that happen? That's what this one's like to me. It just flows. It flows the best. It's their second album, being 1984. But wow, what a great collection of songs. What a performance. What a moment in time for Metallica. You've got everything going. You've got the fast riffing, the screaming of James. You've got the frantic drumming by Lars. And Kirk Hammett's just going crazy on these different leads and solos. This is an exceptional album. Okay. Creeping Death, The Call of Cthulhu. All these songs are amazing. Fade to Black. I had a friend, I used to work with a guy who was really into Metallica and Kiss. And I would ask him, what's your favorite Metallica song? He wouldn't even blink. He would just say Fade to Black. And I always thought, what a great choice. But this is an amazing album. And I'll keep it. Let's go with this. Ride the Lightning. By the way, cool cover. With the purplish, bluish sky and the lightning bolts and then the electric chair. I mean, look at that. Jeez. Number 1, Ride the Lightning. All right, folks, so we did it. We made it to the end, and this is pretty fun, and it was good for me to go back and listen to some of these. Some of these I don't need to listen to anymore. I have them memorized, but anything since really Load and on, I had to go back and listen to, because honestly, even though I listened to them a lot when they came out, over the years I've kind of just I put them to the side because they don't have the meaning that the original 4 albums do. So this was a good exercise, and it also helps me to solidify where I've got bands ranked. I got a bunch of bands ahead of Metallica, but I still like them. And 72 Seasons is going to come out this year. I'm looking forward to it. And I think when it comes out, I'll listen to it a bunch of times, and I'll come and do a review. And maybe I'll even tell you where I inserted in here. Okay. Real quick, number 10, Hardwired for Selfdestruct. It's hard for me to say. Number 9, Load. Number 8, Reload. By the way, gross album covers. Go read about it. You won't be happy. Number 7, Sane Anger. 6, Metallica, The Black Album. 5, Death Magnetic. Coffin feature. 4, Kill 'Em All. 3, Master of Puppets. 2, and Justice for All. Good album. Excellent album. Number 1, Ride the Lightning. There we go. We made it to the end. We got the top 10 Metallica. I'm looking forward to the new album. Maybe someday I'll go through. Maybe I'll do a Garage Inc. Review. It's a 2-discer. For a 2-discer, it's pretty cool. It's got the 2 EPs on it, and then a bunch of B-sides on the second disc, and the like a Motorhead, like 4 or 5 tracks from a Motorhead show that they did. And then the first disc is new material. I think they recorded in 90. I'm gonna say 98. I'm gonna say late 98 or early 99. That one came out. But I listened to that a lot when it came out. Yeah, and I'm really splitting hairs between Ride the Lightning and Injustice for All. I like them both. I'll give Ride the Lightning the one. And Justice for All is a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's powerful and precise enough for me. James has described it as a a rhythm guitar solo for a whole album, and that's kind of how it feels. But it has, I mean, they all star in it, especially James and Kirk and Lars. Now they bullied my guy Jason Newsted, and they put him way low in the mix, and you can barely hear it. It's kind of a shame. In fact, I've seen a couple different videos on YouTube of and Justice for All, but somebody's playing bass, they're playing Jason's bass over it, and they've got it really high in the mix, and it sounds cool. I mean, I wish they would have done that the first time, but you know, they got a haze. And Metallica's interesting. They're for they seem to be mostly jovial people, but you know, like most bands, they've had problems with alcohol and drugs. You know, James has been in and out of rehab, and um, it's affected the band at times. And you know, they got the best of them there when they were just hazing the hell out of Jason. Okay, I think that's it. What's coming up next for me? I'm gonna start going through. I've been listening to Rush now for a couple of months, and if you've been looking at my posts, I've been going through the albums, listening to them every day, getting new albums, and I've got 90% of it sorted in my mind. But what I'm gonna do is go through the albums and some single album reviews, and then I'm gonna put together my Rush rankings. And that's coming up probably in the next week or two. I'll say, probably before the end of April. All right. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget, like and subscribe. If you don't like my list, leave a comment, or if you have a different list, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I'll check it out and respond back. Thanks, everyone.